Hi guys. So I get this question a lot. Am I psychic? Um, so I believe everyone is psychic. I don't think there's a single person that is not psychic. Now, that being said, I do feel like a lot of people completely ignore their intuition. And I've completely ignored my intuition on multiple occasions. I still do sometimes, even though I'm a professional psychic, so that's kind of weird. But there's been times where, I get guidance and I'm like, what are you talking about? Don't care, and not listening. And then, later down the road, I get burned in the ass, and then I'm like, shit, I should have listened to that. So, one of the reasons I feel it's so important to help people relearn how to connect to themselves is that I really think that if people were in tune with their inner knowing, we wouldn't have as much chaos as we do on the earth right now. Um, I feel like there's um, multiple levels of or multiple reasons why people ignore their intuition. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. One of the main reasons I feel people ignore their intuition is just the way we are socially conditioned. So we're not really taught to listen to ourselves. In fact, we're taught to ignore what we really feel. Right down to the way we eat. So, for example, a child generally knows when they're full, when they've had enough to eat, when they're hungry. They know when they're hungry. They will let you know when they're hungry. They will let you know when they're full. And as parents, we would best um, support their inner knowing if we just listen to them. But what do? We often say, we have to eat at this time, and this time, and you need to sit there and eat all of your plate, even if you're full. And nope, you're not done. You're going to eat 5 more bites. So I do this with my own child. It's terrible when you really break it down, because what it teaches a person is to overeat sometimes, to ignore their own body's signals that they're full, to ignore their own body signals when they're hungry. Sometimes my daughter's like, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. I'm like, you're going to have to wait. So that's one way we train people to ignore. That's one way. Another way is we just live in a left brain society where everything's on a schedule and everything's sort of um, dictated to us. And there isn't really room in our school system to really allow for us to nurture a child's own feelings, really. And I want to be careful because I haven't been in school, in elementary school, junior high, or high school for a really long time. So I know that there are amazing teaching um, lessons out there for children these days, and they really do work on the emotional level more than I ever got to learn as a child. But I mean more like the sixth sense. Like, we're not really trained, as far as I know. And if there is any teachers that are watching, or anybody that knows more than me on this topic, like, please just put the comments in the below. I'm not trying to be an expert on what gets taught in schools, but as far as I know, there aren't really lesson plans designed to say, like, who do you feel in this room has a pain in their shoulder, so that you can identify your connection to other people through your own body. So what I mean by that is, like, when I do a reading with someone, I can tune into their body and know where it hurts. I can feel it, I can see it in my mind's eye where there's a stagnation or a block. And this is something that I've always been able to do, but I didn't really always understand. I can tell or feel when someone is repressing different emotions despite their pretend emotions that they show the world. I can sense it through my own body's change around their energy field. So I do get a lot of people asking me like how I learned to become psychic, or how or when I always psychic. The answer I give them is yes, I've always been psychic, but I wasn't always able to understand my own system, and I'm still learning it. Honestly, I get new and different messages all the time, and I'm always deciphering, and I'm always training. And that's the big difference between someone that isn't psychic and someone that is psychic. You have to always be training, just like anything. Like if you want to get strong and good at something, you have to train. So how do I train? How have I trained? Because I know, if you were to know me 10 years ago, I was a train wreck, okay? And anybody that knows me that's watching this and tuning in and going, who the hell does she think she is? I know who she is. Based on my history, I was an absolute train wreck. But what I've done from then till now is I literally meditate daily. So that helps me clear my mind, get rid of any stress, and I get to connect to myself. That's been the number one factor in me becoming like in tune with myself. Number two, I really pay attention to what I eat and my diet, because for me personally, eating garbage food blocks my intuition. And I'm almost 100% certain that's across the board, although I will have people argue that that isn't the case, and that's fine. You can like your food, whatever. But I do know that different types of food interfere with your connection to yourself. And intuitively, I think we all know that. If you're not on your game because you feel like shit because of something you ate, how the hell are you supposed to be able to be intuitive and in tune? Now, it doesn't mean you're no longer psychic. It just means that you might get confused messages. It might mean that you just don't have the clarity that you could have. Now, again, I do know some really amazingly clear psychics that eat crap. So it's not like across the board. Just for me personally, I need to have like a really clean diet to be super in tune. That's maybe just my belief system. And because it will change. So say I ate a bunch of crap, because I believe that if you eat a bunch of crap, my psychic abilities would diminish. I don't know. The other thing is, so diet, sleep is huge. You need to get good sleep to be really clear. Meditation for sure. Some form of exercise, absolutely 100%. You need to move the chi through the body so that the meridians run and in clear pathways without being blocked or stagnated. That brings clarity. The other thing is just training in a certain divination tool. So for example, the tarot, there's 78 cards in this deck. You have to learn what each one means. You have to do that work. You have to learn what they mean upside down versus right side up. You have to learn how they relate to each other. So I've trained with that, learning about that for over 10 years, and I'm still learning. Like, it is a seriously deep topic. I don't care who you are, who you think you are. If someone is claiming that they know everything about tarot, run in the other direction, because there's so much to learn about tarot, it's ridiculous. Astrology, same thing. If you have an astrologer telling you they know everything about astrology, run in the other direction. Because astrology is so broad, there is absolutely no way that you can learn it all. Like, you can have a really good grasp on it, absolutely, and you can master it to a certain extent, but there's always room to grow and learn. And if you don't have that attitude, then I am not going to be taking any advice from you. But that's a personal thing with me. I really listen to what people tell me. So, and this is the reason I'm doing this video, is so that if you do go to anyone for guidance, They're not trying to be an expert in your life. Whether they're psychic or not, you are the expert in your own life. So don't forget that. I've heard horror stories about people going to psychics, and I've really just cringed because it ruins it for the rest of us that really do have integrity in this work. One of the things I think, in going back to social conditioning, is that a lot of people fear the unknown based on how our culture depicts psychic ability. So it's always like these dead zombie people are around you, watching you in the bathtub, ready to choke you out, and all of this kind of crap. That is not how dead people present. You know, they don't present as zombies. They don't present as these evil entities that are looking to flip a table and scare you. We're kind of trained to be afraid of people after they die, but it doesn't make any sense. Were you afraid of them when they were alive? No. Why should you be afraid of your lineage, your ancestors? You know, like tuning in and talking to your mother or your father. Why is that scary? It wasn't scary when they were here. You know, I really feel like if we had that connection with our ancestors after they passed, if we kept that connection, we would feel connected, not this feeling of abandonment that happens to so many people after someone passes. I mean, it's listed as one of the stages of grief, is feeling like you've been left, feeling like the sense of abandonment. That shouldn't be the case. If you know that you're still connected, that your ancestors are still with you all the time, you wouldn't get as depressed after people pass. So I feel like because of all of these socially conditioned mass cultural beliefs, we've become so disconnected from ourselves. And maybe that's why there's so many psychics popping up now in this day and age. You see all these, everyone's a psychic, everyone's has a YouTube channel doing psychic readings. Anyone, literally anyone, can do this work, and it is true that anyone can do this work, but, and this might be bad for me for business, you should just be able to tune into yourself. I feel like that's more empowering than going to see someone else to tell you what you could already tell yourself. I think it's important to connect to yourself, to learn how to do that. I really, really do. Like, you know, people think psychics are kind of like a sideshow party form of entertainment, you know, but the value that we teach others is that you can connect. I mean, anyone that's gone to see a psychic, like a legitimate psychic, cannot deny that there are ways we can connect to things of, you know, that we have no real logical reason, rhyme, or reason to connect to. So, you know, when some complete stranger comes off the street and I do a reading for them and I can connect to their life and know things about their life, and they're like, how the hell did you know that? They can do the same thing. We can all do the same thing. We're all connected to something more than just what's right in front of us. And that's the value a psychic, all psychics bring to the world, is this knowing that we're more than just, you know, skin and bones. We're energy, and we're connected to each other. And we can learn to connect to ourselves again. Even though life has set it up that we're so far removed from who we are, we're so disconnected from Mother Earth, we're so disconnected from our ancestors, we're so disconnected from who we really are and what we can really bring. You know, we have to go to these psychics to learn about that, to learn that there's a connection. And I do know, like, a lot of people think it's a bunch of crap. And I do know, you know, I haven't personally had that experience with anyone saying that to me besides a few YouTube negative Nancys. But, you know, I know the messages I get are not just in my head. I know that when I get a message and then 5 minutes later that person calls me and I just got the message that this person was going to call me, I know there's something bigger than me, my little life, my little history that was a train wreck. You know, I know that there's something bigger than all of us. And I feel like it's my job, or that's the purpose, one of my purposes is just to really expand the awareness of other people through my own experience. Like if I didn't do the work I've done to get to where I am right now on my spiritual path, I'd still be a train wreck. And if I can go from that to here, anyone can. Anyone can. If you have that determination in your heart and a dream in your mind, then you can do it. I would encourage you to not share those dreams with other people because it will save you a whole lot of bullshit in the beginning of your journey. If you're around people that kind of vibrate at that level of disbelief and you're sharing your big, big dreams with those people, they're going to shoot them down. Believe me when I tell you that. They will shoot it down. Not because they're bad people, but just because people like to tell you their own limits. And trust me, people will try to superimpose the limits they have for themselves onto you. Especially if you're a big dreamer like I am. I've had that so many times. People tell me, you can't do that. You can't do that. Because of my nature, I'm going to say, yeah, watch me fucking do that. I'm going to do that just because that's who I am. But I know a lot of people will shrink and they'll say, yeah, you know, they're probably right. I probably can't do it. Everybody handles criticism differently. I try to prove people wrong. Even if I'm in my mind, I'm like, yeah, they might be right. I probably can't do that. I'm going to do it. Like, I'm just going to prove them wrong. That's just who I am. But, you know, sometimes it's a waste of time to just be proving someone wrong just for the sake of proving someone wrong. So that's a lesson too. Anyways, kind of went off on a tangent, but I just wanted to share with you that all of you are psychic. Sometimes we just need some training along the way. Like I have trained with very amazing spiritual leaders. Sri Sri Ravi Shankar. He's my guru. I've trained under him since 2002. I've trained under Swami Sukatanya. I've trained under Doreen Virtue, Radley Valentine, Deborah King, Sonia Choquette. Many, many people. It took many people to get me to where I am in my determination. So, yes, I was born psychic, but I had to actually do work to get to a level where I feel confident to put my work out there and share it with the world. I didn't, it's just, you know, definitely it comes naturally to me, but at the same time, I have to train all the time. And I have that desire to do that because this definitely is my path. So I want you all to know, those of you that are watching, that tune in, that want to have a career maybe in being psychic or doing spiritual work, that you will have to train. It's something that the more you do it, the more confident you get, and the better you get at it as well. So I hope this inspires someone out there. If you have any comments, put them below. And that's all I can really think of. Have a great day.